Welcome to The Deep Dive, the show where we slice through the noise to bring you the most important insights from a stack of sources, helping you become instantly well-informed.
Today, we're diving headfirst into the, often murky waters of digital media.
And our guide is someone who's been called a whiz kid and secret weapon by none other than Tim Ferriss.
That's right. Tucker Max, the author, he even credited our source with his international fame, said his strategies drove sales of millions of my books.
Wow.
Yeah, and allowed him to, quote, stand here while other celebrities were destroyed or became parodies. Pretty strong stuff.
Definitely. And Andrew Keen, another critic of digital culture, he really nailed it when he said this insider blows the lid off the real workings of today's so-called news media.
He shows how a handful of dodgy bloggers control the whole system and turn our collective attention into their own profit.
It's a pretty stark claim, isn't it?
It truly is. So this deep dive, it's centered around Ryan Holiday and his, let's say, provocative 2012 book, Trust Me, I'm Lying, Confessions of a Media Manipulator. He takes us on this journey into what he calls the seedy underbelly of digital culture, basically laying bare exactly how our information landscape gets shaped.
Okay, so our mission today, it's not just about the sensational stories, though. I gather Holiday provides plenty of those.
Oh, definitely.
It's more about pulling back the curtain on the hidden mechanics, the economic incentives that really drive online media.
Exactly.
We want to give you, the listener, a shortcut to understanding why your news feed looks the way it does. Maybe offer some genuine aha moments about the deliberate design behind all that, digital chaos you see every day.
Yeah, what does it all mean for you as someone consuming this information? That's the key question.
And our sources here, it's Holiday's own confessions and research, right? All from the book.
That's right. Pulling directly from his book, his aim was pretty clear, conceiving how expose the faulty assumptions and self-serving logic of online publishing. And believe me, he holds nothing back.
Okay, let's unpack this. We're starting with the manipulator's playbook. First things first, what does Holiday actually mean when he talked about the digital landscape? Like, what's a blog in his terms?
Good question. So when he says blog, he means it really broadly, collectively to all online publishing.
Oh.
So yeah, not just, someone's personal diary. It includes major newspaper websites, web videos, Twitter, even big group blogs with tons of writers. It's a huge umbrella.
Gotcha.
And within this landscape, he identifies what he calls the media elite. Sites like Gawker back then, Business Insider, Politico, BuzzFeed, HuffPost, Drudge Report.
Right, the big names online.
Exactly. But what's fascinating, he points out, is that while their direct readership might seem kind of puny compared to, say, TV news, that audience is often made up of TV producers and writers for national newspapers.
So their influence is way bigger than their numbers suggest.
Yeah.
They're setting the agenda for the mainstream media.
Precisely. Holiday describes this clear hierarchy, how information flows. You've got thousands of daily bloggers down here.
Okay.
Then hundreds of mid-level journalists, online and off, using those bloggers as sources.
Right.
And then at the top, the big outlets, New York Times, Today Show, CNN, they grab leads from everyone below to turn into national stories. He literally calls it bloggers informing bloggers all the way down.
And that's not just his take, is it? There's research behind that.
Absolutely. There was a study, Cision and George Washington University, I think. It found something like 89% of journalists used blogs for research.
89%? Wow.
Yeah, it just shows how interconnected it all is and how fast information...
It's brutally simple, isn't it?
It is. Clicks.
Just clicks. Every post, every video, every tweet. It's like a digital street hawker yelling for your attention because, as Holiday says, traffic is money.
Yeah. The whole model is basically advertisement times traffic equals revenue. Ads pay per impression, per page view. So more revenue means you need more eyeballs. Simple as that.
That's why your newsfeed feels like a battlefield, not a library.
Exactly. And this leads to what Holiday calls the one-off problem. He compares it to the 19th century yellow press.
Like Pulitzer and Hearst?
Well, even earlier, like Benjamin Day's New York Sun in 1833. Day sold papers on the street, right? One copy at a time, cash and carry.
Okay.
So each story had to be exciting enough to grab someone that day. James Gordon Bennett's Herald, for instance, its layout was all about street sales, short, zesty stuff right on the front page.
A real fight for attention, literally corner by corner, which is different from, say, Adolph Fox in the New York Times later on, right? They had the subscription model.
Exactly. That ushered in the modern stable press. For Ox, reputation began to matter more than notoriety. If you published errors, readers might cancel their subscriptions.
So trust was key.
Trust mattered. But the internet, because it mostly ditched subscriptions, well, it's brought us back to that street corner fight. Each online story has to sell itself all over again every single time.
That constant competition explains so much. Okay, let's get into the tactics. The juicy stuff Holiday reveals first. Make it all about the headline.
Right. Online, the headline is king. It prioritizes clicks way over content. Holiday notes they're packed with exaggeration and lies and bogus tags like exclusive, extra, unprecedented.
He even compares modern headlines like, I don't know, Naked Lady Gaga talks drugs to those old yellow press ones like an orgy of gray-haired men.
Yeah, the parallels are pretty striking. And platforms like Google News, they just make it worse.
How so?
Well, when Google News shows like dozens of articles on the same topic, each headline is basically screaming, no, pick me, pick me.
Right.
The loudest, most extreme one often wins the click. It's not about being accurate, just provocative.
But what if there isn't anything loud or extreme to begin with? What then?
Well, that leads to the next tactic, which is kind of shocking. Just make stuff up.
Yeah.
Everyone else is doing it.
Seriously, just make it up.
Well, bloggers are obsessed with angle hunting. As one veteran blogger apparently said, there's no topic too mundane that you can't pull a post out of it. They'll find an angle or, invent one.
And the sources they use?
Often totally unverified. Holiday says anonymous means something else entirely online. Quotes get pulled from unsolicited, untraced emails.
Yeah.
He even admits he gave anonymous tips dozens of times himself, and no editor ever checked who he was.
So anyone can just email a tip, claim to be anonymous, and boom, it's in a story. That's unsettling.
It really is. And then there's this tool, HRO Help a Reporter Out. He says it's basically free publicity for marketers.
How does that work?
Marketers can manufacture self-promotion to look like research, and journalists just grab these, obligatory but artificial quotes from experts to make their quick articles seem legit.
It's like a closed loop of fake expertise validating page view chasing?
Exactly. And it gets even easier with press releases.
Ah, yeah. Bloggers love those.
They love press releases because they do every part of their job for them. The writing's done, the angle's there. Pew Research found official press releases often appear word for word in first accounts of events.
You just copy-paste journalism.
Pretty much. And then there's Wikipedia manipulation.
Oh, this is fascinating. Subtle edits there can become fact.
Yeah, Holiday describes how tiny changes can get picked up by journalists and become solid facts of society. It's kind of scary.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Someone changed Russell Brand's mother's name on Wikipedia as a joke. The LA Times later printed it as fact.
No way.
Yep. And Holiday himself admits fiddling with Tucker Max's bestseller status on Wikipedia. Journalists reported the manipulated info, which Holiday then used as proof by citing those articles. It creates this false echo.
That is, wow.
Right.
Okay, so that's how they create content, often out of thin air. How do they make sure it spreads?
Right, next tactic. Giving them what spreads, not what's good. And there's a disturbing science here. A Wharton study looked at New York Times articles and found the most powerful predictor of virality is how much anger an article evokes.
Anger. Not joy or surprise, but anger.
Anger. He uses the example of those ruin porn slideshows of Detroit. Remember those?
Vaguely, yeah. Lots of decaying buildings.
Right, those went viral. And he points out they were often deliberately devoid of any sign of life, unlike maybe less viral photos that showed actual people. The simple narrative of decay and outrage was easier to spread.
Huh. And Holiday used this himself, didn't he, with American Apparel ads?
Oh, yeah. He used arousal and indignation. Things like the Sasha Grey nude ads, they generated millions of views from a tiny spend, like $1,200.
Not because people bought stuff from the ad, but because everyone was talking about it, outraged or defending it.
Exactly. It's about engineering the conversation, engineering that emotional response for clicks and attention.
It sounds like it.
He also mentions the Rick Santelli CNBC rant back in '09. Remember that? Yelling about homeowners, the Chicago Tea Party.
I do, yeah. That blew up.
It stumbled directly into the perfect storm of what spreads on the web: humiliation, conspiracy theories, anger, frustration, humor, passion. All the hot buttons. As the philosopher Chris Hedges put it, reality is complicated, reality is boring.
Which explains why sensationalism wins online.
Pretty much. And that ties into the next tactic, using the technology against itself. The medium shapes the message, right?
Special Miklohin.
Yeah. Blogs are hemmed in on all sides by technical constraints, like the standard format stacking, reverse chronological order.
US Post at the top.
Right. That forces constant, short updates. It creates considerable pressure to be short and immediate. You have to keep feeding the beast.
So you end up creating a newsworthy event out of nothing? Just to post something.
Exactly. Like, the ideal Gawker post back then was apparently just 100, 200 words, speed over depth, brevity over substance.
And this pressure leads to something called Warnock's dilemma. What's that?
It's the fear of silence. No comments, no links, no traffic, like your post just disappeared. Holiday Site's Ender's Game, where a character uses inflammatory comments just to hear how our style of writing is working.
So bloggers might actually manufacture engagement, fake comments, emails, just to feel like they're being heard.
It's incentivized, yeah, just to break the silence to get that feedback loop going, even if it's artificial.
Man. Okay, and the last tactic in this playbook, paying bloggers, but maybe not in the way you'd think.
Right. He points out how little many bloggers actually earn, like Seeking Alpha writers averaging maybe $58 an article. Nate Silver figured a HuffPost user piece was worth like $3.
Frankly, nothing, which makes them...
Ripe for exploitation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So instead of cash, companies offer freebies, perks, exclusive access.
Like American Apparel giving clothes to fashion bloggers.
Exactly. Or Samsung paying for a Business Insider writer to cover their events. It creates this warm and fuzzy feeling, blurs the lines between reporting and PR.
Subtly influencing coverage.
You got it. And there's also the revolving door issue.
Bloggers moving into industry jobs.
Yeah. Tony Pierce going from LAist to the LA Times, Carolyn McCarthy from CNET to Google. It happens a lot. And it creates this massive disincentive to report critically on companies that might be your future employer.
Why bite the hand that might feed you a six-figure salary down the line?
Exactly. It just paints this picture where the incentives are.
Well, they're completely misaligned with finding and reporting the truth.
It really does. It's a very eye-opening look at how the game is played online.
Yeah, and maybe why your news feed feels so exhausting sometimes.
That's a truly unsettling look at how the sausage gets made. Okay, let's shift gears. Part 2. The monster attacks. What are the consequences of all this manipulation? Starting with the iterative hustle. What's that about?
Right, iterative journalism. It's basically the philosophy of publish first and edit later, get something out fast, even if it's speculative or unverified, and then report on the reactions as it develops. Like Michael Arrington from TechCrunch famously said, getting it right is expensive. Getting it first is cheap.
That's the one. It means you're often reading a first draft of history, maybe even just a rumor, not the final checked version.
And the results can be, well, pretty damaging sometimes, right?
Oh, absolutely. Holiday gives examples like Business Insider falsely reporting Governor David Paterson would resign, or remember the Steve Jobs heart attack hoax?
Vaguely, yeah. That hit Apple stock hard.
Knocked billions off, yeah. They published first, then edited later by reporting the denials. It's like publishing a rumor and then reporting that a rumor exists.
So sometimes it's just a vapid victory, like breaking news maybe 20 minutes early, like with bin Laden's death.
Right, maybe trivial. But when iterative journalism goes really wrong, Holiday talks about a hoax where Eater LA reported awful health code violations at a wine bar.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it caused pain and suffering for innocent people, even though it was disproved pretty quickly. The speed just steamrolls accuracy and sometimes people's lives.
Wow. Okay, next concept. The link economy. The leveraged illusion of sourcing. That sounds complicated.
It sounds fancy, but the idea is pretty simple. It combines two things: delegation of trust, just trusting what other outlets report, and hyperlinking without necessarily checking the original source yourself.
So just because multiple sites link to the same story doesn't mean it's actually verified?
Not at all. Holiday calls it a breeding ground for manipulation. So you see a story cited everywhere. Don't just assume it's true. Ask yourself, did anyone actually check, or are they just passing along something that went viral?
Like a game of digital telephone.
Exactly. He uses the Maurice Jarre fake quote example. A student put a made-up quote on Jarre's Wikipedia page as a joke after he died.
Okay.
The Guardian and other papers printed it. It shows, as Holiday says, once anything is printed enough times in the media without challenge, it becomes fact. The links seem to confirm it, even if the origin is false.
And this isn't just small blogs fooling each other. It goes right to the top.
Absolutely. He talks about that American Apparel rumor, the ugly people hiring policy, started as an anonymous tip on Docker, then spread everywhere. Even CNN covered it.
CNN.
Yeah. It shows even the most trusted name in news might cover something just because someone else made it a hot topic first. The echo chamber reaches everywhere.
Holiday uses the subprime mortgage crisis as an analogy here, doesn't he?
He does. Handing off unverified information is like bundling and passing along those dodgy mortgages. It creates falling dominoes of misinformation, and eventually the whole system suffers a crisis of trust.
That's a really powerful comparison. Okay, shifting slightly. Cute, but evil. Online entertainment tactics that drug you and me. What's this about? LOL cats being evil.
Huh. Well, sort of. He talks about genetically modified entertainment, things like LOL cats, sure, but also sites like demand media that use algorithms to create content. It's designed to exploit our impulses, keep us clicking, keep us kind of addicted.
How do they do that?
Companies literally hire data scientists to figure out how to engineer more smiles for people per day. Demand media, for example, used algorithms to find popular search terms, then churned out cheap, click-heavy content just to grab those page views.
Content designed purely to hook you, not necessarily inform or enrich.
Exactly. And the result, he argues, is what psychologists call narcotizing dysfunction.
Narcotizing dysfunction.
Yeah, basically mistaking the busyness of the media with real knowledge. You confuse scrolling and clicking, consuming, with actually doing something or learning something meaningful.
All the auto refreshes, the alerts, the sharing buttons, they're designed to keep you engaged, keep you scrolling, stop you from looking away and thinking.
Pretty much. Stop you from seeing what is really going on, as Holiday puts it. It's like constant low-level distraction.
Okay, now for something maybe less cute. The dark side of smart, when internet humor attacks.
Right. Snark. He defines it as that nasty, insidious, rug-pulling, teasing insult. It's profitable for blogs because it's click-friendly, cheap and fast, easy outrage, easy clicks.
And it can be really destructive, right?
Yeah.
He uses the Scott Adams example, the creator of Dilbert.
Yeah. Adams got turned into this permanent caricature labeled a misogynistic rape apologist online. Holiday argues he never actually said anything supporting that, but the snark took hold and the caricature became the online truth.
Once that narrative starts, it's hard to stop.
Very hard. And Holiday connects this to what he calls the 21st century degradation ceremony. Online media acting like a digital blood sport.
Like online lynch mobs.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Blogs dispense public punishments using speculation and sensationalism. He contrasts it with Greek tragedies, which aim to teach humility through downfall. Modern news, he says, often just makes us feel better by hurting others.
That is genuinely chilling, how easily outrage and snark can cause real harm just for clicks. Which brings us, I guess, to the final big idea. Welcome to unreality.
Yeah. He argues the news isn't a window onto reality. It's a mechanism for systematically limiting the information seen by the public. There are all these filters. Like, everything that happens gets filtered down to what's known, then what's deemed newsworthy, then what actually gets published, and finally what spreads. It's a funnel, not a mirror.
And into this funnel, manipulators insert pseudo-events.
Exactly. Things staged for the media, press releases, product launches, carefully managed interviews. They're intended to introduce certain narratives, not reflect organic reality.
But the scary part is, these pseudo-events don't stay unreal.
Right. Our responses to them are real. As Walter Lippmann pointed out ages ago, the news creates a pseudo-environment, but our actions based on that pseudo-environment, they're very real.
And Holiday gives a really stark, maybe the ultimate example of this, involving Dick Cheney.
Yes, it's a powerful one. In 2002, leading up to the Iraq War, Cheney allegedly leaked bogus information to an attention-hungry reporter for the New York Times.
Okay.
Then he went on Meet the Press and cited his own leak, reported in the Times, as proof that untrue information was now public and accepted fact.
He cited his own manufactured story as evidence.
Effectively, yes. Using the media's own processes against itself to build a case for war. The unreal became tragically, devastatingly real for millions.
That really brings it all home. So after all this, what does it mean for us, for you, the listener, trying to navigate this?
Well, Holiday's conclusion is pretty bleak, honestly. He says our knowledge and understanding is the final, empty, hollow shell. What we think we know turns out to be based on nothing, or worse than nothing, misdirection and embellishment.
He essentially says the web, our main cultural medium, is hopelessly broken. that bloggers or online media lie, distort, and attack because it is in their interest to do so.
It's sobering, definitely. But I also think it's kind of empowering. Knowing how the game is played, that gives you power. This deep dive, it's really a call for critical engagement.
How so?
He urges us to demand quality over quantity, to actually question the information we consume. Ask yourself, what do I plan to do with this information?
And if the answer is nothing,
Then maybe it's just noise. Maybe it's not worth your attention, your click, your outrage.
he puts it very bluntly for you, the consumer. You cannot have your news instantly and have it done well.
Right. You cannot have your news reduced to 240 characters or less without losing large parts of it.
You cannot manipulate the news, but not expect it to be manipulated against you.
And crucially, you cannot have your news for free. The price we pay, it seems, is often the truth itself.
He ends with this really provocative thought,
Yeah.
right? It's kind of an apology, but also a final jab.
Yeah, it is. He says, basically, to everyone he burned in the book, I'm sorry, but then immediately says, trust me, I'm lying when I say that.
Of course.
But then he adds, it's just that you deserve better. And the second you stop and walk away, the monster will start to wither and you will be happy again.
That leaves us, the listeners, with a real challenge, doesn't it? To see how we feed that monster with our clicks, our shares, our attention.
Yeah, and to think about the real cost of how we consume information. What will you do differently next time you're scrolling? It's something to really consider.